Hello, guys, and welcome to today's off-season outlook and discussion. I haven't done one of these in about 3 or 4 days now, so we'll see what has changed over the last couple 3 or 4 days from the last time. Anyways, here we are. We're doing our routine countdown here. We are now 20 days until the tropical weather outlook start, which is less than 3 weeks away. It starts on Sunday, May 15th. So write that down on your calendar. Make sure you keep track of it because that's when the tropical weather outlooks start every 6 hour period throughout the day, and we're gonna see by the 15th if we got anything kind of sort of trying to get together out there to see if we get something on that first two. But that's then. This is now. So we also are 37 days away until the official start of hurricane season. So we're getting to that 1 month time frame here, and it's gonna start going by pretty quickly from here on out for weather enthusiasts that are ready for hurricane season to start. I know there's plenty of people out there that are anxious about this season. What's the future going to hold? How many storms are we going to get? How many storms are going to impact land? Obviously, I wish we knew, or we would be telling you guys. So, with that being said, before I get into the SSTs that I normally look at in these videos, there's going to be a quick update on Tropical Cyclone Jasmine here. Yes, we do got Tropical Cyclone Jasmine here that is in the Mozambique Channel. This is going to be making its way towards Madagascar, which, obviously those people have gotten hit 5 or 6 times already, and now they're about to get another one, but this time it's coming from the west instead of the east. And there is going to be some decent rainfall with this. You might get some wind impacts, but it should be weakening on its approach to Madagascar. So that's always a good thing. Right now, Joint Typhoon Warning Center has it about 50 knots, but I have it about 60. That's my personal estimate for this system because it does have a little bit of an eye feature on microwave. So it could be close to a cyclone status right now, but if it makes it there, we just don't know. But luckily, like I said, for the people of Madagascar, this should be weakening by the time it gets close to them. So now we're going to take a look at the rainfall threat for Jasmine, because this is going to be more of a rainfall threat for Madagascar than a wind event. And you can see by the time we get to the 60-hour mark, you got some purples in there. So you're looking at about 100 to 150 millimeters of rain, which isn't that bad. We're gonna, let's calculate that real quick. That's not where I want to go. Thank you. All right, 100 to 150 millimeters of 2 inches. Yes, we're gonna do that. And of course, it doesn't give us a good, you know, figure here. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say they're gonna see about 5 or 6 inches of rain with the system, which is still enough to cause flooding concerns in some of those low-lying areas of Madagascar here in the south. So you guys are getting one last surprise. Hopefully this one is the last one of the season. So we're gonna have to see how that all pans out as we go forward. Because, like I said, you guys have had a couple major cyclones hit this area, and we could just hope and pray that this is the last one. So now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go to the SSTs. Now, normally I take a look at the West Atlantic first, and then the tropical Atlantic, but today we're gonna look at the tropical Atlantic as a whole instead of the western part of the basin here. And this is the most important part of the basin, obviously, because this is where your Cape Verde storms come out here around the 15 to 12 north, maybe even 9 north, lines here. So we're going to see how these, warm up over the course of the period. And as you can see here in the Western Atlantic here, you got the warm tongue here that's still prominent here. And you can see that it's trying to reach the coast here, but it's not quite making it there. So what are we going to do here? We're going to go through the last 4 days of temperatures to see if anything has changed over the course of the last 4 days since I did my last update. So here's the 22nd. You can see, the typical places here. And as you can see, not much change has occurred between the 22nd and the 23rd. But you can see here, you know, some of these, SSTs here in the eastern MDR are trying to make their way north. They are now trying to make their way north because we got some westerly wind bursts that are happening right now that are weakening the trades. And as we head out towards the rest of the week, those trade winds are expected to pick up a little bit. So the MDR temperatures shouldn't they're going to fluctuate, but they shouldn't go it shouldn't favor up nor down once we get later into the week. But after we get into like say the weekend or the first of the week, those weaker trades should start happening again and get those westerly wind bursts to come in here and start warming these temperatures up. So this is the 24th, and as you can see, from the 23rd and 24th, not much has changed besides maybe some warmer Central Caribbean here. So now we're going to take a look at the 25th. And as you can see, this red here is starting to creep its way north, and that's a big signal. Is when that starts to shift north, that's gonna shift the Etsy up north with it because the Etsy is attracted to the warmer waters, and that's why when you see an Atlantic El Nino, the Etsy tends to be more south than it is north, and when you get an Atlantic La Nina, the Etsy tends to follow the warm water up north with it. So you can see between the 24th and the 25th that these waters are starting to creep north. And we also have, a decent red spot popping up here too, which is indicative of about 29C. We're going to have to see if that grows over the course of the next couple of weeks. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the 15-day change here, and this is going to be pretty telling as we, check out, how much things have changed in the last 5 or 6 days. So as you can see here, parts of the subtropics is it's been warm and cooling at the same time. It's not a definitive look, but it's kind of like a mixed bag. And then you got the streak here down the middle that's been cooling or staying neutral, and then you have the MDR that is starting to warm up here a little bit as we head out through time. And then we take a look at the 22nd, and you can tell what is happening now is that the subtropics are starting to cool while the MDR is starting to warm up. But then you see, from the 20th to the 22nd, that the MDR or the Gulf of Mexico has been cooling a little bit. As you can see, 20th it had a massive warm pool, but now we're seeing a lot of cool anomalies there in the Gulf of Mexico. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at the 25th. And as you can see, you know, the Gulf of Mexico is starting to warm up a little bit more, and then, parts of Florida, around Florida, that's been cooling off a lot lately too. It wasn't long ago, like maybe a week ago, where we had, 27 to 28 degrees Celsius waters around Florida, and those have been since diminished to 25 or 26 C. So, people around Florida are feeling some cooler waters from the trades and the cold fronts that have been working their way through these areas. But the most telling story here is the cooling of the subtropics and the massive warming of the MDR in places in between the MDR here. And we're going to see if this trend continues as we head out through the rest of April and May. And then once the end of May comes and we start June, that's when the natural warming is going to start taking place in the MDR. Plus the Western African monsoon is going to start picking up, and that's going to promote warming too. So, May is pretty much all we got here before it starts to really warm because natural warming, wham, you know Plus we're in a negative NAO phase right now, I believe still. So that's going to be a factor, too. So we're gonna have to see how this all pans out as we have through time. Now, as you can see with the Pacific region or Enzo, you can see that 20th we've had some massive cooling here in the 1-2 regions, while we had kind of a mixed bag everywhere else, and that's kind of the same there. And as you can see, that the 1 and 2 regions are starting to get a little bit of a warm pool here, so we're gonna have to see how this all pans out. Right now, we definitely still have a La Nina look. It's just that this is only the 15-day changes at this point. All right, so now what we're gonna do here is that we're looking at the Atlantic subtropics here, and as you can see, ever since February, middle of February, beginning of March, we've been on a downward trend with these sea surface temperatures. And as you can see, we made it down to negative, not negative, but 0.4 degrees above the long term average. And now it's going back up a little bit. Now we're back up to around 0.45 degrees above the long term average. And these are going to matter as we head out through time, because you hear people around saying that you need the MDR, the subtropics, to be as warm, if not a little cooler, maybe a little warmer, to offset any instability from getting into the MDR. And that's and we're going to see if that is the case here this year, because there's some people that are calling for a super active season, and then there's people out there that are calling for hyper active seasons. And this is gonna, like I said, this is gonna matter as we head out through time, and we're just gonna have to see, if this is a temporary jog up, or if it's gonna start going down again soon. So with that being said, here is the MDR region right now, and we are now officially above average in the MDR. I'm gonna just round this up and say we're at 0.1, and it still looks like it's pretty steep incline as we head out through the next week or so. We're gonna have to see how far this all goes up as we head closer to the hurricane season. And this is, like I said, just like the subtropics, this is gonna matter too, because the higher the anomaly goes up, the better chances for a more quality season than a quantity season. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this for you guys as we head out through the next couple of weeks and months to come. All right, so the last thing we're going to take a look at is the tropical cyclone heat potential here, and this is a new feature, by the way, from Alex Borham from Cyclonic Weather, and this is a pretty interesting product here, because this is going to be an easy way of telling you, hey, this is what the ocean heat content or cyclonic heat potential is for a budding tropical cyclone. And you can see that we got some yellows and oranges, but this is in the deep MDR here, so we need this to move up north if we want some decent MDR stuff, which obviously it's going to happen. Just it's going to take a little bit of time. So this is the main area right here that I want to talk about in the Caribbean. You can see that we're well on our way from being right in the middle of the chart here. We're looking at cyclone heat potential of 100 to 110 around Jamaica, and then 60 to 90, mostly everywhere else, besides where you see the greens, which is like 30 to 50. And you can see this warm tongue here, that has about 30 to 50, cyclone heat potential as well. And, we're just going to see this grow and grow and grow until we get to the hurricane season, and we're going to see how, we're going to see together how this all unfolds as we get closer to the time. Because, my thinking is I'm probably going to have another video. Well, obviously, I'm going to have more videos beforehand. I'm going to have a video on the May 15th when the first tropical weather outlook comes out. And then we'll also take a look at this cyclone heat potential map. And then I'm going to have an official start of hurricane season video on June 1st. And then we're also going to take a look at the cyclonic heat potential on that day as well. as for right now, things are starting to, you know, it's starting to look like a hyperactive season might happen, but there's still a few key factors that need to come into play before we really decide if the plug is going to be taken off of that hyperactive pot, so to speak. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys again in a couple of days. Have a nice day.